Hi, I'm Kaylee Frandsen, and today I would like to talk to you about why the increase in owning exotic pets is just one reason to support your local humane society. Today I would like to inform you about keeping exotic pets and why this relatively new sensation increases the need to support our local humane society organizations across the United States. Through my audience analysis, I've determined that I'm speaking to a neutral audience. I decided to use the balanced structure because while the audience surveyed understands the nature of owning exotic pets and that problems may arise, they seem somewhat undecided on where they stand in regards to being in favor of or opposed to it. And I didn't include questions about the Humane Society, so I believe that using this structure will help to tie everything together. Does anyone remember hearing about Ligertown in the mid-90s? As a native of Lava Hot Springs, I remember the incident well, even though I was a small child at the time. In September of 1995, 19 African lions were killed by local citizens and law enforcement officers after they escaped from the inhumane conditions they've been living in for years, at a compound owned by Bob Feber and Dottie Martin. Fortunately, 27 of the big cats were rescued and relocated to the Wildlife Way Station in California. Feber and Martin were both injured by the animals during the incident and faced misdemeanor charges for animal cruelty. During my childhood, I remember visiting Ligertown often with my mom, as the compound utilized city water, and as the clerk, she would occasionally deliver the water bills to the owners. They were both friendly people and would let us see the cubs that lived in the house with them. It never even occurred to me until the incident just how poor the living conditions were for the animals being kept there. Throughout the years, a number of them had starved to death or died from other causes, and the living animals would eat those that had died because they had nothing else to eat. While this incident may seem to be an extreme case, mistreatment of exotic pets is a common occurrence for various reasons, and those animals should be removed from those situations. Fortunately, there's an organization within our community that can help. Let's take a look at some information and statistics on owning exotic pets in the United States. Most states don't keep accurate records of exotic animals being brought into their states, and the sale and possession of them varies by federal, state, local, and community laws and according to the animal. The Endangered Species Act states that it is illegal to buy, sell, or possess an endangered species. If an individual is found to illegally possess an endangered animal, the ESA allows the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to prosecute them even if the animal is being well taken care of. Generic tigers such as ligers don't fall into this category because they are not considered an endangered species and can therefore be legally bred, sold, and kept as pets, according to bornfreeusa.org. As I did my research for this speech, I found that it's extremely easy to purchase an exotic pet. Being captured from native habitats, surplus animals and their offspring from zoos, and backyard breeders make it possible for millions of animals to be moved through the exotic animal trade each year. Just on the internet alone, there are over 1,000 websites where you can purchase exotic animals, but none of them offer advice about the laws that apply to owning them, the difficulties or dangers that may arise as the animal grows, or how the animal might be affected by living in captivity. Many people think that owning exotic animals as pets is not harmful to them or the animal until an incident occurs, and they don't realize the long-term costs associated with caring for an animal that isn't a common pet. Exotic animals are inherently more dangerous because of their wild nature. Many of them carry diseases that can infect humans, and the cost to feed and house them only rises as they grow in age. Wild animals can pose a great physical threat to their owners, especially in cases where the animal is predatory. All of these statistics that I'm going to talk about are according to PETA, but within the last 10 years, a tiger killed a 3-year-old boy who was the grandson of its caretaker. In another case, a Bengal tiger bit and severed an arm of a 4-year-old boy, and in this century alone, 4 people have been hunted down and killed by wolf hybrids. Studies suggest that at least 1 in 3 reptiles is a host for Salmonella and Shigella bacteria, and the overall percentage with Salmonella is nearly 90%. About 25% of imported and domestically bred macaws reportedly had the herpes B virus. Other notable diseases carried and transported by wild animals include chlamydia, Yaba virus, Giardia, tuberculosis, measles, Marburg virus, hepatitis A, campylobacteriosis, rabies, and streptothrombosis, all according to the ASPCA. The needs of exotic animals require specific living conditions, housing, and food that the average person simply cannot afford. Primates require space for climbing, and sea mammals need to be able to swim freely in large tanks or basins. For instance, the annual cost of keeping a tiger in a cage varies, but is generally somewhere in the neighborhood of $6,000, according to National Geographic. So what does this mean for us in Southeast Idaho, where the number of cattle outnumbers the population? And why do we need to support our Humane Society when instances like Ligertown are a rare occurrence in our area? The Humane Society supports mistreated and unwanted animals of all kinds. And because of the high cost of care for even common pets, they cannot continue to do this effectively without community involvement and support. They are committed to stopping the illegal trade of exotic animals around the globe and actively work with various organizations to rehome or reintroduce, when possible, the animals to their natural habitat as they find them. With community support, the Humane Society would be better able to handle a situation like Ligertown if a similar instance were to arise in our area in the future. As our culture has evolved, even in my lifetime, it's become more widely unacceptable for animals to be neglected and mistreated in any way that negatively impacts their livelihood. Unfortunately, the desire to own exotic animals has only increased in that amount of time, along with access to them. Even though there are laws in place to regulate owning, buying, and selling exotic pets, they vary greatly, and many of these animals become a danger to their caretakers, or the cost of keeping them becomes so great that they end up being mistreated anyway. Fortunately, there are organizations such as the Humane Society who are committed to not only fighting for legislation to stop the illegal trade of exotic animals, but will step in and help whenever the need may arise. The Humane Society would not be able to support animals in need without the support from the communities in which they reside. I would encourage everyone to visit the website for the local Humane Society in your area and help them out in any way possible. They accept monetary donations, supplies, volunteer help, and there is always a need for foster homes. With our help, we can ensure that this organization continues to help mistreated and neglected animals for years to come. Thank you.